Are you an Indigo? Then you've got these extraordinary features to contend with. Taking a stand for the advanced. Much has been written and discussed about the peculiarities of Indigos. This refers to children and adults who have very special abilities, but who also come into the world spiritually several levels higher than the rest of us. The term Indigo child goes back to 1982, when Nancy Ann Tappe published her sensational book, Understanding Your Life Through Color. In it, the author concludes that you can see the human aura. Each appears in different colors. The deep blue indigo is of particular importance, as it had rarely appeared as an aura color, at least until the mid-1970s. The energy body theory assumes 7 different layers, which are closely linked to the 7 chakras. Therefore, indigo has a very special meaning in the chakra teachings. The deep blue symbolizes our forehead chakra, also called the third eye. There sits not only our spiritual wisdom, but also our intuition. Indigo children are indeed a real challenge for parents and guardians. But even as adults, life for them is fraught with many a challenge. Here, we'll show you some of the peculiarities that Indigos have to contend with. 1. Authorities? No thanks. Here you can already recognize in children if the aura tends strongly towards indigo. These free spirits reject from childhood any form of authority that does not really convince them. A few people will succeed in getting through to them and steering them at least a little bit in the right direction. With strictness, anger, or even aggressive methods of education, one will achieve nothing with Indigos. On the contrary. In this way, one only reveals oneself as someone who should have nothing to say. As adults, Indigos will sometimes adapt to circumstances, but will never be those comfortable subordinates who surrender to cadaver obedience and question nothing and no one. Since they are gifted above average and possess high intelligence, many a boss will not have a moment's peace once Indigos have seen through their insufficient competence. 2. The why drives them, and others to madness. Indigo children make it extremely difficult for their parents, teachers, and other caregivers if they do not have an adequate answer to every question. Their high intelligence forbids them to come to terms with facts without getting to the bottom of them. The central question that drives Indigos throughout their lives is why. Their spirit of discovery and their urge to explore knows no bounds. 3. They love animals. Indigos of all ages have a very special connection with animals. It almost seems as if they have some kind of natural gift for communicating with them. They treat all living creatures with great respect, but they are also fearless and do not shy away from even potentially dangerous animals. Some Indigo children find it much easier to bond and make friends with 4-legged friends than other children. 4. Deep spiritual experiences are not alien to them. Indigo people come into the world simply knowing. There is much more between heaven and earth than our eyes and minds can discern. In the course of their lives, they thus witness deep spiritual experiences again and again. Their strong intuition guides them and signals to them, even at a young age, that everything is all right, even if the mind cannot explain it. 5. They like to give free rein to their emotions. Malicious tongues attest that Indigo children lack impulse control. To outsiders, it appears this way because feelings are there for them to be acted out and expressed. They do not care about the expectations of others or social norms. When they are sad, angry, or disappointed, Indigo children give free rein to these feelings. As adults, they have learned to conform to a certain degree. 6. The suffering of others is unbearable for them. Their strong intuition brings with it an above-average level of empathy. Indigo people find it very difficult to see other people or animals suffer. They can literally feel their pain in their own body and threaten to break. Above all, it is the helplessness here that they can hardly bear. At the same time, of course, they also try to get to the bottom of these circumstances and find out why there must be such an excess of suffering in the world, and why no one wants to do anything about it. The feeling of having to carry all the world's pain on their shoulders is therefore unfortunately something that Indigo people know only too well. 7. They despair for the world and their fellow human beings. Indigos realize as children that we have only one world, one environment, and one life on this earth. How adults can simply accept the destruction of nature is beyond them. But also the exploitation of the animals and the undignified behavior which humans mutually again and again expect lets Indigos literally despair at mankind. These extraordinary peculiarities make them react with rage, fear, and anger because their hands are simply bound. In most cases, they can do nothing more than stand idly by and watch the destruction. As adults, they often devote themselves to good causes, where they can often be found among the activists who are not afraid of consequences. Their natural rejection of authority serves them well. Once they have committed themselves to a cause, they consistently pursue that goal to the end and beyond. Failure, surrender, and cowardice before the enemy are unknown to Indigos. 8. The search for meaning determines their lives. Even as children, Indigos flatly refuse to engage in activities that are obviously meaningless and lead nowhere. Later in life, this search for meaning never ceases. They know that there must be more to life than mere existence and a daily routine that is always the same. They question the common models of life and would never spend their time on jobs or people that have no meaning for them. Their constant curiosity and urge to get to the bottom of things hardly ever allows them to rest. They need excitement and variety. For them, standing still is tantamount to the near end. Indigo is not a lifestyle. Even if reading the human aura is a highly controversial field, we all know people to whom the above points apply, or perhaps even recognize ourselves in them. One does not consciously decide for a life as an Indigo, one is born to it. Struggle, on the other hand, lasts a lifetime. From a child labeled as rebellious and difficult to a rebellious teenager, it is not an easy road for anyone involved. Finally, as adults, Indigo people are confronted with a life that either makes them the ultimate outsider or demands an excess of compromise. To be allowed to be themselves is the declared heart's desire of all Indigo people and, of course, their right. The question of why is out of place here.